It's the spookiest time of the year, the season of the witch, if you will. The time of year where parents are terrified their children are going to get razor blades in their candy, even though there's been no documented cases of that ever happening. But regardless, I've been watching some spooky movies, getting into the spirit, the Halloween spirit, trying to get all scared, feeling like Courage the Cowardly Dog. I've been watching some classic horror movies like Halloween, but I've also been keeping my eyes peeled like Patrick in that one episode of SpongeBob for some new spooky things to watch. And one of those new things, which isn't new, it's a reboot of something old, is the new Goosebumps 2023 reboot, which is what I'm talking about today. Goosebumps, obviously a classic. I love getting goose pimples, nothing better. And those books, the Goosebump books, R.L. Stine is absolutely a massive part of my childhood. I have read, I believe, every single one of them, and I love them to death. Nothing better. And they've made countless TV shows and even movies based on these Goosebumps stories. They've been adapted more than I've wiped my ass this year. So I just wanted to see how this new series stacked up in terms of the Goosebumps universe. And if you just want a quick summary, you don't want to sit around and listen to some weird country kid talk about a new Goosebumps show, it's watchable, but it feels like it belongs on the CW network. Like, it feels like a Riverdale kind of show. The acting is questionable. Here's a good example of it.
Baby, she helped me with something, so I invited her.
Helped you with what? What could she have possibly helped you with that I couldn't? I am your girlfriend, Isaiah, so why are you always talking to her?
Because we're neighbors, and we have been forever. Babe, I talked to the postman too, right? Are you jealous of the postman now?
If the postman was a girl our age that you were always talking to, then yes.
What?
I can't do this anymore.
Now listen.
Yeah, some real goofy-ass behavior in this show for sure. There's some whole lot of goofy-ass things going on. That's a good way to describe this show. It's a goofy-ass show. I'm gonna get into spoiler territory now, so, don't click off the video, give me the watch time, but just go, blah, 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 I can't hear you. And that way you don't get the spoilers. But basically, the whole story, it's a continuous story. It's not like an anthology. Each episode isn't a different story. They're taking different stories from the Goosebumps world. They take Say Cheese and Die, The Haunted Mask, The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, Go Eat Worms, and then the Night of the Living Dummy, as well as the whole Reader Beware thing. It's not like a single story, but they take the idea, the concept of Reader Beware, and they put them all together in this, well, they attempt to put them all together in this one continuous storyline that's going to span across the whole season. And that format doesn't really work. Goosebumps works way better as a TV show when they do it anthology style, when they just have 1 or 2 episodes dedicated to each storyline, like how the late 90s, early 2000s, I don't really know when it came out, how the original Goosebumps TV series did it. They did 1 or 2 episodes for each story, like Say Cheese and Die, The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, and they were all separate. But in this show, everything runs together, which obviously creates a lot of problems narrative-wise. Like, everything revolves around this one house, and they try to make everything interconnect throughout the different episodes. Like, they'll tell a story from one person's perspective in one episode, and then they'll try to give you the other person's perspective in the next episode, and it's a cool concept, but the execution leaves a lot... Sorry, I got burpy. It leaves a lot to be desired. Because all of these haunted objects, like the classic ones, the camera in Say Cheese and Die, the Haunted Mask, the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, the worms, they all revolve around this one kid, which is, his name, wait, Harold? I should have been way more prepared for this. I'm just speaking from the heart here. His name, I'm pretty sure, is Harold. It doesn't matter. He's the kid who got killed at the beginning of the show, because it does show you that in, like, the first episode. At the beginning, it shows you him, dying in a house fire. And everything that the main cast shortly after that discovers has to do with him. It's his camera that is haunted. It's his mask that is haunted. It's his Cuckoo Clock of Doom in his house that is haunted. And it's also his pet worms that are haunted and make the other characters do something strange. Because each character in the main cast gets a special dedication to each one of these objects that revolves around their story. And I do gotta say, they did a major injustice to the Say Cheese and Die and the Haunted Mask. Like, obviously, I mean, it's iconic. This cover right here it's probably my favorite cover out of any of the Goosebumps books. Just say cheese and die, and it's a picture of a family having a cookout, and they're all skeletons. Classic. And also, I do really like the camera a lot better in the 1996 episode, apparently, of Say Cheese and Die. It just looks more fun. Like, this one's just a generic old camera, which it doesn't matter, really. But the Haunted Mask, they absolutely did a disservice to this. Why the hell am I seeing Breaking Bad, Kanye West, George Floyd, and Momo and Monkey Mask beside this? What the hell? Anyways, the Haunted Mask is iconic. It is so good, even on the cover here. And this one right here is the one I like the best. The Haunted Mask 2. That right there it's burned in my memory and absolutely made me piss my bed more than once because I own that book, and oh my god, I would try to read it before I went to sleep and be a big boy, and I absolutely turned into a little piss baby because I wet the bed so hard. That haunts me. And even in the TV show, it was really good. The Haunted Mask was good. You know, spooky, scary. But man, in the new Goosebumps, they absolutely butchered it. Like, this is how the mask looks. And like, it acts the same way where it takes over the person that's wearing it. But damn, dude, that's like they literally did not put any effort into it. It's just a blank, generic ass mask, and it takes the whole soul and the whole spirit out of the feeling of Goosebumps, you know? Because how do you go from something like this in the 90s show to something like that in a 2023 reboot? How are you gonna disrespect it, spit in the face of R.L. Stine that hard? Like, this kid Harold, I'm pretty sure that's his name, he was collecting up these haunted objects like the fucking Dragon Balls, and he left them all in the basement, and they're now discovering them. And you see this mask, and I'm like, there's no way in hell. There is absolutely no way in hell that this is going to be the Haunted Mask, because I went into it thinking it was going to be an anthology. Each episode would be a different story. But then once I seen they all started connecting, because you see everything in the basement in the first episode, and then they start piecing it all together. And I seen that mask, and I was like, man, they better not make this the Haunted Mask. And you know what they did? You know what they did? They made it the Haunted Mask. And granted, they did do this thing where it kind of morphs on her face and turns into this weird Dobby golem looking thing. This weird little goblin creature. But that still even doesn't look good at all. It looks stupid. It looks so bad. It looks like a crackhead you'd see running down the street by a Waffle House at 3 a.m. Anyways, I'm ranting about the mask too much. The episodes, the order they go in is Say Cheese and Die, The Haunted Mask, The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, Go Eat Worms, Reader Beware, and then the most recent episode is Night of the Living Dummy, with Slappy, the ventriloquist dummy that's pretty much the face of Goosebumps. And that episode is probably my favorite one, just because I like Slappy. But the rest of them, they're not bad. I'm not making this video to say they're bad. I'm just saying, as a reboot, it's exactly what you would expect. It just feels like a soulless cash grab, and The Haunted Mask is a great example of that. Because they took what was good about The Haunted Mask, the way it looked, and just pissed on it. I'm sorry I keep talking about it, but it genuinely, that's what irked me so bad and made me want to make this video, is the Haunted Mask itself. Like, they disrespected it so bad. And as for the characters, I'm gonna have to look up the cast to remember their names, because they are quite forgettable. That's a bad sign right there for a show whenever I can't remember any of the fucking names. There's James, Margot, Isabella, Isaiah, and that's the core four. That's really the main characters who have these haunted things happen to them. And there's also Mr. Bratt, who is possessed by a ghost. Weirdly, he had a ghost hop down his gullet. That was kind of a strange part of the show. But anyways, those are the main four, and out of those four, I don't like any of them. I kind of like James. If I had to pick one that I liked, James's character is probably the most likable one. But the rest of them are just, like, annoying, I guess is the right word for it. Like, there's no reason that you should support them or that you should be wanting to root for them. Like, there's no substance to any of the characters, really. They're just kind of throwing them at you at the surface level and just saying, hey, this is the one that's going to have to deal with the Haunted Mask. That's the one that's going to have to deal with the Cuckoo Clock. That's the one that's going to have to deal with this one. And that's going to have to deal with the worms. I just wish they would have took more time to make the characters likable and give them at least a little bit of depth and a little bit of character. if they're going to make this all one continuous story. If it was an anthology, sure, make them throwaway characters, but they're mainstays. They're what we're going to be following the whole series, and they decided for whatever reason to make their personalities like a mannequin. There's just nothing to them. They're all literally just copied and pasted stereotypes that are just obnoxious to watch on your screen. Basically, the best way I can say it about the characters is that they're just so forgettable, man. It's like you just don't watch it for the characters. You know, you're watching for the Goosebumps aspect, which is the haunted objects, so I guess fair enough. You don't have to make amazing characters, but they definitely could be way better. And Mr. Brat, man, Mr. Brat is one of the goofiest characters in this show. Probably my favorite one, just because of how over-the-top weird they make him, man.
Like, what the hell was in that case?
You guys want to know what's in the case? Come inside. I'll tell you.
And there's also another silly little moment here where they try to get meta with that dude when he's trying to tell him a story, and I think this is also a little goofy part of the show.
Okay, just you kids of this era with your cell phones and YouTubes, it's like, no focus. You can't focus on a really good story. This is a good story.
I was listening.
Thank you.
Anyways, yeah, Goosebumps 2023, definitely watchable. I'd give it like a solid 5 out of 10. It's not horrible, but definitely better. There's better Goosebumps media to watch, but other than that, I'll catch you in the next one.